Mercedes-Benz's EQ branded electric vehicles are finally back in production, and their return marks a pivotal moment for the brand's electric strategy in the United States. After months of uncertainty, halted assembly lines, and shifting market conditions, the EQE and EQS family has re-entered the picture at a time when the EV landscape looks very different from when they left. This restart is not just about resuming manufacturing. It is about recalibrating Mercedes-Benz's approach to electric luxury in a tougher, more price-sensitive, and politically altered environment. Production of Mercedes-Benz's EQ-branded EVs had been paused since September of last year. The affected models included the EQE sedan, EQE SUV, EQS sedan, and EQS SUV, essentially the core of Mercedes' premium electric lineup for the U.S. market. The timing of the pause was no coincidence. It came just ahead of the elimination of the federal EV tax credit, a policy shift that dramatically altered the economics of electric vehicle ownership in the United States. Once the credit disappeared, demand for higher-priced EVs dropped sharply, particularly in the luxury segment. Now, according to reporting first surfaced by The Drive and echoed by Car and Driver, Mercedes-Benz has restarted production of these 4 EQ models for the U.S. market. The move signals renewed confidence, but also a strategic reset. Mercedes is no longer relying on incentives to move inventory. Instead, it is leaning on pricing adjustments, refined product positioning, and the strength of its brand to keep its electric portfolio competitive. To understand the significance of this return, it helps to look at where these vehicles are built. The EQE sedan and EQS sedan are produced in Germany, maintaining the traditional European manufacturing roots of Mercedes' flagship sedans. Meanwhile, the EQE SUV and EQS SUV are assembled at Mercedes-Benz's plant in Alabama, reinforcing the company's commitment to U.S.-based production for its most important SUV offerings. Restarting production on both sides of the Atlantic underscores how seriously Mercedes is taking the American market, even as EV demand becomes more volatile. The EQ-branded vehicles are re-entering a market that is far less forgiving than it was just a year earlier. The elimination of the federal EV tax credit during the final months of 2025 sent shockwaves through the industry. EV sales fell sharply in the fourth quarter, and luxury brands were hit especially hard. High sticker prices, combined with rising interest rates and economic uncertainty, forced automakers to rethink their strategies. Mercedes-Benz responded by doing something it has historically been cautious about: cutting prices. For the 2026 model year, Mercedes has dramatically reduced pricing across the EQ lineup. The EQE sedan now starts at $66,100, nearly $10,000 less than its 2025 price. That reduction alone signals how much pressure the brand felt to reposition the car. The trade-off is that the more powerful EQE 500 variant, with its 402 horsepower output, has been removed from the lineup. The focus is now on a more streamlined offering that balances performance, range, and affordability. The EQE SUV mirrors that strategy almost exactly. It shares the same $66,100 starting price, which represents a drop of roughly $13,000 compared to the previous year. Like the sedan, the EQE SUV also loses its higher output EQE 500 variant. Mercedes is clearly prioritizing volume-friendly configurations rather than chasing performance numbers that only a small subset of buyers demand. Higher up the range, the EQS models also see meaningful adjustments. The EQS SUV now starts at $91,100, which is about $15,000 less than before. The rear-wheel drive EQS 450 Plus has been removed, simplifying the lineup and pushing buyers toward all-wheel drive configurations. The EQS sedan receives a smaller but still notable price cut of around $5,000. These changes collectively reshape the EQ portfolio into something more accessible without abandoning its luxury positioning. Beyond pricing, the return of the EQ models comes at a moment of transition for Mercedes-Benz's electric branding. While these vehicles still carry the EQ name, newer electric models arriving in 2026 will not. The upcoming electric CLA and the GLC EV both ditch the EQ naming scheme in favor of familiar, long-established model names. This shift suggests that Mercedes is gradually moving away from treating EVs as a separate sub-brand and instead integrating electric powertrains into its core lineup. That context makes the return of the EQE and EQS particularly interesting. They represent the last chapter of Mercedes' original EQ strategy, one that emphasized futuristic design, distinct naming, and a clear visual separation from internal combustion models. Their continued presence alongside the new CLA EV and GLC EV will create a diverse electric portfolio spanning multiple philosophies under one brand umbrella. From a product perspective, the EQ models remain technically impressive. They are built on Mercedes-Benz's EVA2 electric platform, optimized for smoothness, quiet operation, and long-distance comfort. The EQS sedan, in particular, continues to prioritize aerodynamic efficiency, with its ultra-low drag coefficient contributing to impressive real-world range. The EQE models bring that same philosophy to a slightly smaller, more approachable footprint, especially in SUV form, which remains the dominant body style in the U.S. market. Interior quality remains one of the EQ line's strongest selling points. These vehicles deliver the kind of materials, build quality, and technology that buyers expect from Mercedes-Benz. Large digital displays, advanced driver assistance systems, and a focus on refinement over raw sportiness define the driving experience. Even as pricing comes down, Mercedes has been careful not to dilute the sense of luxury that differentiates these cars from more mainstream electric options. Still, challenges remain. The competitive landscape is more crowded than ever before. Tesla continues to dominate EV mindshare, while newer entrants and established rivals alike are pushing aggressively into the premium electric space. BMW, Audi, and Porsche all have strong electric offerings, and Chinese brands are advancing rapidly on the global stage. Against that backdrop, Mercedes' decision to restart EQ production is both bold and necessary. It's also a signal that the brand believes there is still room for high-end electric sedans and SUVs in the U.S., even without government incentives. By adjusting pricing and simplifying trims, Mercedes aims to strike a better balance between desirability and realism. The EQ models no longer rely on policy support to make sense. They must stand on their own merits. Looking ahead, the coexistence of EQ-branded vehicles and newly named electric models like the CLA EV and GLC EV will be a fascinating test of brand strategy. The EQE and EQS will likely appeal to buyers who want a distinctly electric identity, while the newer models may attract customers transitioning from gas-powered Mercedes vehicles who prefer familiar names and forms. In that sense, the return of the EQ-branded EVs is not just about restarting production lines. It's about keeping options open. Mercedes-Benz is ensuring that it has coverage across multiple segments, price points, and buyer mindsets as the EV market continues to evolve. The company is no longer betting everything on one approach. Instead, it is adapting in real time. Ultimately, the restart of EQE and EQS production reflects a more pragmatic era for electric vehicles. The hype has cooled, incentives have faded, and reality has set in.
Mercedes-Benz's response has been to listen to the market, adjust accordingly, and move forward with a refined strategy. The EQ-branded EVs may have taken a pause, but their return shows that Mercedes is still committed to electric luxury, even when the road ahead is more challenging than expected.